Hello everybody and welcome to another Dwarf Fortress tutorial. In this video I aim to be covering the subject of stairs. I've covered this before in previous videos, but hope to go a little bit more in depth with this one. Let's dive in. So this video is going to cover four main topics: digging stairs using the designations tool, building stairs using the constructions tool, and then replacing dug stairs with built stairs, which can be a little fiddly, and then finally some additional tips and tricks. So when you begin digging your stairs, what you're going to do is you're going to select the dig tool. Now what this tool does is it takes a pickaxe and a dwarf with the mining job assigned, and it tells them to go dig these stairs. Now the stairs have to cover a minimum of 2 levels of dirt, or stone, or any other cut type of rock in the game. The dwarf then goes and begins their digging task once it is assigned. Of course, they have their internal list of priorities and things that needs to get done, and they can only do one job at a time. Once the dwarf arrives at the location, they begin digging, and they will start on the top layer and move their way down. The level of priority they give to the job is indicated by the number on the right. That can be found by clicking on the little arrow that goes in and out on most jobs. Once you've clicked on this little arrow, you'll see a list of numbers. The highest number is the lowest priority, and the lowest number is the highest priority. So if you want these particular stairs to get dug first, simply assign it to a higher priority. Next, we're going to cover constructing stairs. Now, this might seem a little fiddly at first, because they can only construct stairs that they have access to, meaning the first stair that they construct has to have at least one open tile next to it, because further stairs will be connected to the one that was built first. This means dwarves can build both up and down, but the first stair needs at least one open space next to it. So if you're building on the ground, this is quite simple. You simply open up the build tool and select stairs. Click on the ground and then drag the controls up to move it up a few levels. This also works for floor tiles. So just as an example here, I'm going to connect a floor tile to each of these upper stairs by placing a tile next to it, dragging it up a few layers, and then pressing go. This only works because the game thinks, this is supported by something. If I was going to start building the floor tile one tile up before the stairs were done, it would tell me that there's nothing supporting it. But because it knows it's going to be on that base level, if the other floors eventually can't get access, they will just cancel and suspend the job. But because there will be something to support it there soon, the game allows me to construct that. Now, just as an example, we're going to build a little overhang, and then from that overhang, we're going to go down a layer to show you that they can build directly straight down for constructions. We're also going to put a little wall underneath it just so that it looks a little bit less funky. So as you can see now, we have constructed our little overhang, and we are designating the downstairs, and the walls are underneath it and ready to go. And then we can see the dwarf come and build the top layer, and then a few moments later, they come and build the lower layer. Now we're going to cover a much requested subject. This is the subject of covering built stairs with constructed stairs. Now, if I were to just grab the tool and click and drag over all 4 of these stairs here all the way down, it wouldn't actually work because the game would get upset with me because there's no access, supposedly. However, if I do these a couple at a time, so do half and half or 2 and then 2, it'll allow me to do it. Essentially, as long as I'm not trying to build stairs over the entire thing all at once, it'll work just fine and allow me to build my stairs. Once the stairs are covered, we now have pretty wooden stairs instead of the, well, previously ugly stairs. What I'm doing here is I've dug out another stair, and this is going to allow me to demonstrate fixing a dug stair. So this is a multi-Z level stair, and I've just used the removal tool to remove one of the layers of stairs. Now there's a dwarf stuck in there. They're stuck on a lower layer and they can't actually get out. So that dwarf is just kind of sitting there going, oh well, I guess I live here now. And there's one layer beneath them. Now that dwarf does have a pickaxe, so I could tell them to just dig their way out, but if you find yourself in a situation like this where there is a dwarf stuck somewhere you don't want them, you can actually go from that layer or the layer above and replace it with a material. So you can either use stone that is available on the dwarf's layer, if there's stone that's available on the dwarf's layer, and they'll build themselves out, or you can actually go above and allow the other dwarves to bring materials in to build them out. Now you do have to keep in mind, in order for this to work, the first layer has to contain an open access space. So in this case, it's the ground above and the neighboring stairs. But if it's a single file tile, like the next example, you'll have to dig an access point. And just like that, once again, our very brave dwarven friend here is stuck. We managed to dig him down into this single tile. So single staircases are a little bit icky anyway. Dwarves passing each other in single staircases require them to lie down, which can actually cause some slow down in the speed that dwarves can travel. So you kind of want to use doubles or fours when it comes to stairs anyway. But for this system, like I said, we need to dig an access point. So it won't let me construct the stairs. But once I dig out one tile to the left here, it'll allow me to construct the stairs. I'm not entirely sure why the game works this way. It just works this way. So we dig out one tile. This won't work from the surface. It would work if it was more than one tile wide of stairs, but because it's single file and we're just working with the example that I can't dig this dwarf out, we dig over one tile, and then I can grab the stairs tool. Then, of course, it's exactly the same as it was before. Dig down to where the dwarf is, and then simply wait. Now, what's actually going to happen here, which I think is kind of funny, is as they go and construct this staircase, the dwarf's actually going to climb out once the first one is built. Now, they can climb quite effectively if their mind is made up, but generally what dwarves will do is they'll just kind of stand there and then probably just block the way that they need to go. Worst case scenario, you'd need to use a burrow or something to get them off of that tile or put them in a military squad and tell them to move. They will often move out of the way, but not always. Anyway, as you can see there, the dwarf has now scrambled out and we have fixed our staircase. So all in all, replacing staircases with constructed tiles is a relatively tedious process if there's dwarves standing in the way. Keep in mind boulders or anything sitting on the staircases can also block them, which can cause some problems. There are some instances where the easiest solution is to just simply dig around it, but if you are dead set on keeping your staircases intact and you want to reconstruct them, this is a way to do that. Now, the last thing I want to cover in this video is a couple extra tips and tricks. Previously, I used to always emphatically tell people, please, for the love of all that is dwarfy, use this particular pattern that you're seeing on screen for the stairs. Now, the reason I no longer recommend this, or don't recommend it as often, is in older videos, we were playing on a different version of the game. Now, the game changes quite a lot, and this is going to start happening with these tutorials as they age. Different things that once were extremely positive for frame rate or other things might not be the case in a year. So this was originally benefited by the old line of sight code. The old line of sight code was very heavy on the CPU, and if dwarves couldn't see each other, then the frame rate would go up. And so this particular staircase in older versions of the game was quite positive for frame rate because dwarves couldn't see each other. I used to see frame rate gains of like up to 15 frames a second just by simply reconstructing my stairs like this. But with the SDL2 improvements and the multi-threading added to the line of sight code, courtesy of Putnam, the game doesn't have this issue anymore. While I still notice a very slight frame rate increase, it's like a frame or two instead of dozens of frames. Now, the next thing I want to just mention is they cannot construct directly through furniture or stockpiles. And the next video on this stairs kind of subject I will be doing is going to be covering aquifers in more detail. But before that, I've got a video on pumps that I'm working on. If you want to see more tutorials, check out this YouTube channel. I got tons of them. And thank you very much for all the support over the years. My name is Blind. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at twitch.tv/BLINDIRL. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.